blogging is very much two-way. So your customer's actually giving you feedback, but they're giving it to everybody else at the same time who can see it. And there's been examples of Dell Hell, used to call it. Dell were getting negative feedback, and it was coming through these blogging tools, but they embraced that. So if you're going to engage in it, do it wholeheartedly, make sure you've got something to say, but be aware you will get instant feedback, which you can turn positively to your advantage. So that's something certainly to bear in mind, and also to think about the timing. If you have exhibitions coming up when you know that most of your industry are going to be out of the office, think about the timing of your communications. That's really important. I mean, how many times do letters arrive on people's desks when they're all at an exhibition for a week? It's just going to come back and probably end up in file 13. So what kind of things could you consider? I mean, it's the obvious things like obviously your branding and your ID. Whether you do PR. As a smaller business, sometimes we can run shy of that. But if you think about your local magazines, publications, even your trade ones, they're hungry for information. Yeah, you're actually providing a service, so don't be frightened of trying to put a press release in as long as it's newsworthy and timely, and see what coverage you can get, because it really is much cheaper compared to placing an advert. Direct marketing, telemarketing, exhibitions and sponsorships, the internet we've talked about, literature, even running CPD seminars, continual professional development. An architect here, for example, I used to work for a company which did decorative surfaces, and we used to run a series of seminars with architectural practices on the technical aspects of the product, not with the toolkit of bright colours out, but really talking about fire protection systems and how it would work in certain buildings, because people are hungry for information and have a requirement in certain industries to actually undertake study. So maybe CPD, from an educational point of view, technical seminars, is something you can get involved in which will raise your brand. That's certainly something I'm thinking about. Word of mouth. As a small business, do not underestimate word of mouth. Networking is key. And again, people may run shy of that, but practice, develop it as a skill, because it really does build business and referrals. And if you're doing a good job, don't be frightened to ask your customer if they would refer you to somebody. Again, sometimes people can run shy of that, but if you're doing a good job and you're ticking all these boxes, they'll be delighted to do that. But sometimes it didn't occur to them unless you ask the question. So whatever method you use for promotion, any of those, make sure it reflects your brand values, that you've already identified. But importantly, whatever channel you use, make sure it's a channel of communication that your customers are likely to see. So you should know where they hang out, what they read, what they see. Don't just book an ad because somebody's rung you up and asked you, did you want the last minute slot? Really think about, is my customer going to read that? Is it really worthwhile to the business? And really importantly, if you do these things, monitor them so that you know how effective it is. Because next year, you've got it in black and white. We were talking this morning, somebody was working in the sales industry and had experience of ringing companies up and putting them under pressure. I've got this great deal. It's going to press in 2 hours. You can have the best slot that you want. Your advert's going in. And before you know it, you spent 500 quid. Yeah, because you were vulnerable maybe at that time, you didn't know whether it was going to work, and it really did sound like the best things in sliced bread. But if you've got it down in facts and figures, what works and what doesn't, and I appreciate you need to go and experience there to a certain degree, but you can speak to each other as well. That's why networking is good. Make an informed decision. So promotion, and I've spent longer on that because it really is the one area that most people associate only with marketing. It is a very important one, but it's not the only one. Promotion isn't just about communicating with your customers, your external customers. Yeah, it's very important to ensure that your internal stakeholders are actually aware of the value and attributes of your product. So you've put all that effort in, you've got all your marketing tools right, somebody answers the phone, and maybe they answer the phone, you've got two different people, they answer the phone in a different way about the company. Yeah, you need training, as we'll come on to when we look at people. It's really important to back up what you're doing with your communication. So if you've got a launch, sit the people down and let them know what was behind it, why you're doing it, what you're communicating to customers, because they're going to be better trained to actually present that for you. Simple things, again, that don't take time, don't cost a lot of money, but that can really help your brand in the long term. I had another example, actually. A seminar I once went to, I think it was a writer, and he'd been sitting in somebody's reception area, waiting to see his own customer, but he'd heard the receptionist on the phone, and she'd pick up the phone and she'd say to somebody, "Oh, you want purchasing? Are you placing an order or chasing an order?" Well, what does that communicate to you if you're actually sitting in that reception area? It just goes to demonstrate that you've got to make sure everything's pinned down around your brand values, really, just by a little bit of training with people. And actually, coming on to people as the fifth P, touched on it slightly there, but literally anybody who comes into contact with your customers will make an impression, and they can have a massive effect, positive or negative, on satisfaction. I bet we've all got nightmare stories, and I bet you tell everybody about the nightmare stories as well. You know, I was saying this morning, a couple of weeks ago, I was just driving somewhere in my hometown, and there was a guy behind me in his van, and we were at some traffic lights, and there were temporary traffic lights, and they were starting to change, and he was just so impatient. He shot round me and up. It was quite dangerous what he did. Fair enough, he'd had a bad day, he needed to get somewhere quicker. But unfortunately, he had his company logo blazoned all over the van, which really didn't endear me to using that particular company again. And you do sometimes see it on the back of vans, don't you? If you think this is being driven courteously, ring this number, or vice versa. But it's the people, again, that need to understand that this is how we want the company to be run, and this is the brand value. So I say we've all got examples, good and bad, of things like that, actually. So, the reputation of your brand really does rest in your people's hands. The smaller the business, that might just be you, but as you grow, you need to make time as well to train people so that they understand where you're going. Appropriate training, motivate them, and make sure, of course, in the first place that they have the right attitude. So what you can do? You can give them training tools, you can empower them, once you've done that, reward them, of course. I mean, that we're all motivated by different things. But importantly, if you're getting feedback from customers, and it maybe flags up something the customer wasn't happy with, make sure that you involve them in that feedback, so it just doesn't sound like, it's a one-to-one. They actually understand why people are saying that, and they can be part of the solution. Okay? So make sure that they actually are involved. Important is a small business in the service sector. Think about after-sales support that you provide, and any advice. It's one way of actually adding value to what you offer, and it can give you an important edge over the competition. So think about that. Think about the products you have and what after-sales support that you actually provide around it. So go away and look regularly at those products. If they're the highest percentage of your sales, question, do you actually give them adequate after-sales support? And I suppose after-sales support is something that's seen as a benefit, the wow factor in a way, by your customers. A practical example, again, you probably all got lots of them, but I had a problem with my shower, I think it was sometime last year, and it was one part that needed replacing, but what a fantastic customer experience. They contacted me to check that the date was okay, contacted me again the day before to make sure that was still okay, so lots of contact going on there. When the guy came, he actually put some plastic overall shoes on, because he was thinking about my house and the carpet. He really cared. So it was quite obvious that they'd been trained on customer service. Cleared up after himself, and the next day there was a follow-up call. So going back to the Amazon experience again, it's how you actually track that through. What kind of experience from beginning to end you give your customers? Look at that and see if you do that on your own products and where you might actually be able to actually improve on that, because it can really differentiate you. This leads me on to the 6P, which is process. Because the process of giving a service and the behaviour of those who are delivering it really is critical to customer satisfaction. Maybe think about mystery shopping. That was mentioned this morning in the Sage presentation as well. Again, if you're a small business, you may want to get somebody to call in to see how the call's handled, what the whole process is like. If you can't go to the extent of hiring a market research company, maybe do that as a mystery shopping exercise to see what experience your customers are getting from the other side of the fence. Okay? Process, it's actually the first experience, isn't it, of a company that customers have. You've got to get this in place. It's the total wow factor. Okay? And I think, as well, in the service sector and as a small business, it really can be a source of competitive advantage if you use it correctly. So what can you do if you go away from here today? Brief your people, do a bit of mystery shopping maybe. Acknowledge all orders. Make sure that that's done. If you've got a new customer, do you send them a thank you? I think it depends on the business that you're in, but maybe think about thanking them for their business. Endearing them to you. Do you capture the name, address and email? Do you actually build up your database in the process? Think about methods of contact. Do the methods of contact that you provide, do they suit your customer base and your target audience? There might be some people, very few now, but in the construction sector that I've worked in previously, there were a couple that preferred to work on fax. So fine, as long as you're communicating with them and they're happy with that.